You lick sniz.
What is that?
You're a fucking dyke. Don't talk shit about my wife, you stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did I just say? Dyke?
Your wife with the 3
Sorry,
baby
I'm sorry,
daddies?
dyke. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison to your ditch licking?
Do the men that you try to
Do the women that you try
show
to
your hatred against?
the women
they,
that you try
convince
to
them that they shouldn't?
You know,
like,
Charlie, did I
pursue
bring
women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did
your
I bring
wife
your
is 5
family?
years older?
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
Stupid.
You know, I can't really believe that I'm covering this, only because it's outside the purview of what I normally like to do. I don't like doing debate coverage because debates are long and taxing, and honestly, at the end of the day, who really actually cares? They're not really changing anything in the outside world, but sometimes there's some stuff that is said that is so stupendously outrageous, so nightmarishly stupid, that I just need to cover it anyway, and this is one of those moments. How's it going, everybody? My name is Suris. If you're unfamiliar with my channel, I try to cover politics from a fair perspective, while also recognizing that I'm definitely very far on the left. But I try to make this whole ordeal a lot less miserable than the news usually makes it, and if that's something that you find value in, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please consider letting a couple friends know what I'm doing over here. And with that said, let's get right into what's going on today. So if you're unfamiliar with this setup here, then thank God your brain has not yet been poisoned, but this is the Whatever Podcast. Now, the Whatever Podcast is exactly what it sounds like it is. It's whatever. It is debating about whatever, however, and it's getting people from multiple sides to, you know, just come together and have a discussion. And usually these discussions last hours. The one we're looking at right now actually lasts about 6.5 hours. Now, this is the same kind of general channel setup as Jubilee, which is politics as popcorn entertainment. And I'm not the biggest fan of it. There's the, like, steel man of this position where it's getting ideas out there for everybody to be considered equally. And then there's the other side of it where there are just some ideas that are too stupid to be up for debate, and yet these platforms tend to be okay with any of those people coming on and having those debates. I don't know, if you've never seen the anti-vaxxers versus Dr. Mike episode of Jubilee, you'll understand exactly what kind of basement dwellers I'm talking about. That said, let's get back to the subject at hand. This is Andrew Wilson, also known as BigPapaFascist, and he's done debates with damn near every major content creator on the left at some point. He really likes his opinions being known to people. And then the woman on this side, her name is Charlie, and she's the one debating him on a bunch of different topics today. But there is a moment that has gone viral in this debate that I want to focus on specifically, and it's at 4 hours and 15 minutes into the thing.
You lick sniz.
What is that?
You're a fucking dyke. Don't talk shit about my wife, you stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did I
daddies?
just say? Dyke?
Your wife with the 3
Sorry,
baby
I'm sorry,
daddies?
dyke. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison to your ditch licking?
Do the men that you try to
Do the women that you try
show
to
your hatred against?
the women
they,
that you try
convince
to
them that they shouldn't?
You know,
like,
Charlie, did I
pursue
bring
women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did
your
I bring
wife
your
is 5
family?
years older?
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called
into
me fucking
anything?
stupid.
Did I
You
say
called
anything
me
about
fucking
your
stupid.
family being stupid, Charlie?
You could.
It's
You
So that was a lot, and yeah, you would be very, very well within your rights to ask, well, surely there's some context for that. What's the context behind that? Well, let's rewind just a little bit, and actually let's rewind to even before the debate to get the full context for what's going on here. So he's very protective of his wife, and, well, I think you'll see why here in about 1 second.
Would you rewrite the First Amendment?
I have my opinions, but I don't even believe women should vote or be in government because we can't enforce any of those things anyway.
Huh. Well, no wonder he defends her. Anybody that is willing to say that they actually should always be subservient to men, yeah, 100%. I get it. I can understand being very, very vehemently defensive of that kind of person. And when this guy's in debate, he kind of makes it a point to try to rage bait and troll, and everybody thinks that that makes him, like, some super powerful, great debater, but it just kind of makes him an asshole. Now, the point that I want to get at more than anything is the fact that when he's in these debates, he's constantly interrupting and being an asshole. And, like, these are things that other debaters do, but I feel like when you do it, you have to ask the question of why you're doing it. Are you doing it just to off-seat somebody? Are you doing it just to be a dick? Or are you doing it because you're trying to prevent a Gish gallop? Now, in this particular instance, it didn't seem like he was trying to prevent a Gish gallop, but to answer his question, turns out the 15th Amendment gave the right to vote to all men, regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude, but states began enacting taxes and literacy tests that restricted African Americans from being able to vote. So on a federal level, technically 1870 is when we got that, whereas women were given the right to vote in 1920. So that's about a 50-year gap between the two. And the better question to ask is not, oh, when were men given it? Were men not given it at the same time? Were men always able to vote? No, these are all obfuscations. Because this is a thing that he does a lot in conversation, is he will obfuscate a fact. He will be literally a professional sophist in order to derail somebody. The point is, men were given the right to vote before women, several years before women. Any attempts to divert from that fact are, well, exactly that, a diversion. It is an attempt to make you think that you are talking about something else, when the point is, women were given the right to vote after most men, and that's a problem. Any type of argument to the contrary, you have to ask, well, what point are you trying to make? What point are you trying to make when you're saying, like, oh, well, what about men of color? Yeah, there's a conversation about that, and they were not given a right to vote at the same time as all men in the United States. There were barriers to entry for each of them that were thrown there. But what he's trying to do, the reason he's bringing them up, is to use people of color as a shield. He gets to be misogynistic towards women by using African American, black people, as a shield. How does this work? Well, pretty simple. If the point is, hey, patriarchy is doing a thing and that thing is bad, and here's an example in the past of how it did it, when he brings up people of color, he's not doing it because he cares about black people that much. He's doing it because he wants to divert the conversation away from women's rights. We don't need to have the conversation about women's rights. All people didn't get the right to vote at the same time. So that's the problem. That's the real issue we should be talking about. Does he care about the right to vote? No, absolutely not. Him and his wife both believe that women shouldn't even be in power in the first place. It is all a way to divert from that fact, because he knows that those positions are harder to defend. So that gives you just kind of a basic idea of who he is, how he operates. There's a lot more lore there. He got a lot of his start debating people like Destiny back when he called himself literally BigPapaFascist. And because of how out of left field a lot of his views were, and how right-wing they are, they managed to make a lot of different shows get more popular simply by having him on, because he was a popular guest. But now I want to fast forward to the debate with Charlie. And, well, let's go ahead and start right here where we talk about the presidency.
When you're talking about Donald Trump, he has the same exact powers that the president Joe Biden had before him.
Okay, let's go ahead and pause him right there. So before Charlie even responds, let's go ahead and point out that this actually isn't true. For one, during the shutdown, President Trump actually undermined the power of the purse that Congress is supposed to have, something that Biden didn't really enact at all. He actively used powers that are supposed to be outside presidential purview. Also, during the very tail end of Biden's presidency, the Supreme Court granted something that would be used by Trump and not Biden. They granted the president, the actual seat of the presidency, the ability to do whatever the hell it wanted, so long as they called any act that they are doing, illegal or otherwise, an official act. And this was up to and including assassinations of political opponents. In fact, the ability to assassinate a political opponent was one of the main things that was used to argue against the president gaining this power, and it was still shot down by the conservative judges that Donald Trump appointed. There are other examples of ways in which Trump has basically expanded presidential power for himself, but those really do not matter to the conversation. All you need is a couple of examples to show that the president now has more power than the president before. The president now utilizes more powers than the president before. It doesn't matter if they both had the same ability to do this anyway. What matters is how they chose to exercise that power. Also, a lot of what he does seems to ignore any nuance to a situation, and when nuance is brought in, it's only used to obfuscate, not actually to expand on knowledge that a situation could have. It's the equivalent of dismissing a point by saying it's complicated. But to stick on this one for just a little bit longer, I want to ask you a question. Does a president have the same amount of power if they have loyalists in every office in the country, or if they have experts? I would argue a president that has experts that are pushing back against him and things that he might want to do that go against expert opinion and expert advice has less power than one that has loyalists and yes men in every position of power. And oh well, wouldn't you know it, back in 2024, when Project 2025 was being discussed, the project that the Heritage Foundation put forth to be the mandate for Donald Trump's leadership should he get into office, let's go ahead and read this bit here from one of the analyses from Project 2025. The report discusses the background and draconian goals of Project 2025. It then explains how the plan's extreme ideas would come to fruition, exploring 7 critical guardrails that Project 2025 would demolish, including weaponizing the U.S. Department of Justice against political opponents and everyday Americans, politicizing independent agencies and executive branch departments, and replacing tens of thousands of nonpartisan civil servants with loyalists that do the president's bidding. In each instance, the report provides concrete examples of the direct harms that would result from eliminating these crucial guardrails. This was from a report on Project 2025 and what would happen should it get implemented. According to the Project 2025 tracker, after only a year in the presidency, we're already 50% of the way through everything that Project 2025, the mandate for leadership from the Heritage Foundation, wanted to implement. For a quick comparison, when the mandate for leadership was given to Ronald Reagan, by the end of his 8-year term, he managed to get through about 2/3 of what that mandate for leadership wanted him to do. The Project 2025 tracker, which I'll have linked in the description below, goes over everything Project 2025 wanted to accomplish and exactly how it was accomplished in the current presidency. Like the funding for PBS being gutted. That was one of the things directly stated to be done by the project. So again, any argument that this president has the same amount of power as the previous president is technically incorrect, because this president has a loyalist base now. People who have been just taken out of their actual positions of expertise and replaced with people who have no idea what the fuck they're doing, but are loyal to the president, therefore providing less friction to that president. Again, the reason that he brings up points like this is because they sound perfectly reasonable on paper until you take even a minute to analyze them to figure out why he's saying it. Because, well...
Once, he doesn't have a single additional power. Not a single one.
What about the bullshit that the Supreme Court ruled that he cannot be held responsible for specific illegal acts that he committed?
Yeah, well, look, this was early understanding of case law with the president, is that you're not going to be able to allow states to prosecute the president of the United States, or else a state who was just upset.
Tyranny.
No, it's not. It's the opposite.
Tyranny.
A state that's upset at the president could bring him in for bullshit, trumped up charges. And he's the federal executive. That would create a constitutional crisis.
Except it wouldn't create a constitutional crisis, because the Constitution is not the president. The president is separate from the Constitution. The military is supposed to be able to ignore unlawful orders, even if given from the president, who's basically their boss. This is the reason why when courts argue about a law, they don't argue whether it is in tandem with the lockstep of what the president wants. They argue whether or not a law is constitutional. Having a president go on trial, having a president be accountable to the American people does not create a constitutional crisis, especially because we already have a framework for putting presidents on trial with our current impeachment proceedings. The only problem is those impeachment proceedings have been rigged in favor of the president who is in power, because you need a supermajority in the Senate in order to actually get a president to face any consequences for their actions. But Andrew wants to pretend that putting a president on trial creates a crisis, despite the fact that we have done this 3 separate times in the past with 3 separate presidents, and technically there was a 4th that we almost got on trial.
In this day and age, I don't know. That gets tricky. I wouldn't trust Donald Trump to.
Are they going to
show up.
send California agents to arrest the president of the United States, do you think?
We could send the National Guard and start a civil war. Our National Guard, the California National Guard. But that would be treason.
So I'll try to rephrase this. I'm going to reframe, and I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I will never be able to convince you of my worldview.
You won't.
I know. But the reason is not because I'm not a great orator, or I don't make good points, or I haven't said things which should be compelling to a person. But Charlie, I just think, honestly, you're too fucking stupid to understand them.
So, Andrew, can I sell you on my worldview?
Yes.
So before she tries to sell him on the worldview, can I just explain something to you, the viewer, real quick? Something that just happened here. So what she explained, literally, was the process that we currently could use to get a president to be on trial, whether or not it works, irrespective to the fact that in order to do it at a state level, we would currently need to engage in treason. Now, what does this mean? This means that if we want to have a world where a state can take the president and put him on trial, then we should be changing how our system works. Now, that is something that I wish she would have brought up, but there's also an advantage I have here. I've not been 5 hours deep into a debate like she has. I'm sitting here in my own home, in my own comfort, able to cut out points that I don't think are salient when I remember to. So when I think, yeah, you're right, within our current system, we don't have a mechanism to allow for this, really. I think we should have a different system that allows a state to put the president on trial, because I believe that the idea of diplomatic immunity is bullshit. I do not believe that anybody should be above the law. I believe if we wrote those laws should apply both up and down in a civil society. And anytime a conversation about, well, how would you enforce that comes out, you go, hey, I'm arguing for a ideal. I'm arguing for a normative. The mechanics for how to figure it out, I'm willing to say I'm not an expert in how to make that happen. I just know what I would prefer, and I think that that's fair. Wouldn't you agree? Just like you can think of an invention that would make your life easier, but lack the expertise to create such an invention. That doesn't mean that somebody should do the whole thought-terminating thing of, well, if you don't know how it should work, don't talk about it. No, that means that you need to talk to somebody who does have expertise in this field. I don't believe Andrew does. But I'm starting to get into the weeds here. The TLDR of that is, you should not need the expertise to know how an ideal system might look, even if you don't know all the mechanics of how to implement it or enforce it. But then Andrew decides to go for a below-the-belt hit, the ad hominem here. You're too stupid to understand my points, and therefore nothing I say matters anymore. Let's see how this conversation goes now that nothing matters anymore.
Your wife has 3 baby daddies and has been married twice before.
And you
you
lick sniz.
Under your religion.
You lick sniz.
What is that?
You're a fucking dyke. Don't talk shit about my wife, you stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did I just say? Dyke?
Your wife with the 3
Sorry,
baby
I'm sorry,
daddies?
dyke. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison?
So what's happening here? Well, very simply, she has unseated his ability to maintain composure. Now, whether this is because she said the thing about treason, which made him change tactic, or whether it's going after his wife, I think it's going after his wife. So Andrew here seems like a guy who does not know how to emotionally regulate, but does know how to put on a mask. This is a man with the emotional coefficient of basically a toothpick. So what is the point about the wife supposed to illustrate? Is this entirely about saying that, oh, well, you have a wife who's had other kids, that's bad? No, not really. This isn't even a dig at her, though, as you've seen from the clip earlier, she's not the brightest toothpick in the world either. No, the point here is to illustrate a bit of hypocrisy. You see, there's a part of this that I've obfuscated from you, and that is that Andrew Wilson believes that women, well, they should be second-class citizens. Now, I've alluded to that by showing you the clip about his wife. You see, Andrew Wilson is the kind of guy who says things like, single mothers make poor choices. They are the bane of society. They make for risky partners. And yet, he himself is married to a person who was a single mother, not once, but multiple times. A man who tells his own audience, if I were to advise somebody, if I were to tell a man, is it a good idea in 2024 to get together with a single mom, the answer is definitely no. That man, Andrew Wilson, also is dating a woman who was a single mother. There's also a fun bit of lore where apparently Andrew Wilson and his very, very intelligent wife, trust me, she has the greatest opinions about women's rights, tried to get her daughter, so Andrew's stepdaughter, married to a guy who was basically a Nick Fuentes fan, and it ended up backfiring horribly because, of course, it did. However, that bit of lore was something I was unable to verify, so take it with a grain of salt. I do not have evidence to present to you of that bit. Just that it was being stated multiple times in multiple forums I was reading about these people. So, it's a known bit of lore, I just do not know where the evidence for it is. And hell, that may mean that it's actually incorrect, I don't know. What I do know, though, is that he's very pro-sexual assault.
Grape is bad for certain people.
No.
For certain people.
No, it's bad for everyone.
No, it's only bad for certain people. Here,
Andrew.
like, there's women, you agree,
No.
who have orgasmed during SA.
That has nothing to do with
Bro.
whether it's SA.
Bro.
That has nothing to do
Bro.
with whether it's SA. Are you kidding me?
Bro, I didn't say whether or not it's SA, I said during SA.
Yeah, what does it have to do with anything?
Well, bro, if that's the case, right, then was it bad for them?
Yes.
This is a guy who will literally argue that rape isn't that bad if you orgasmed. An orgasm, which, by the way, is an involuntary response and can be caused by trauma, which, I mean, hell, this is one of the reasons why hypersexuality is a side effect of sexual assault.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because there are overriding harms than just orgasm. I'm not
Got it.
saying that's not the case. What?
Perfect. So then, here's the case then. The case is like, when you say, for some people, right? The reason you keep saying that is because even though it's the vast overwhelming majority of people, you want to, like, create this little minutia outlier, right? Is it logically possible that there's ever been a woman who's been SA'd who'd enjoyed it?
I'm not going to.
Can you answer my question? Is it logically possible?
Logically possible?
I mean, is it logically possible? Sure, it's possible that somebody enjoyed a bad thing that happened to them. Whether or not a person enjoys a thing does not mean it was or was not a harmful thing. You can enjoy harmful things that happen to you. That does not make them not harmful. This is like asking if self-harm is always something that somebody doesn't want to do to themselves. Like, there are people who, for one reason or another, self-harm, but it doesn't make the thing that they did not self-harm. Regardless, it's very obvious that in the softest of ways, he's definitely, I guess it's hard to say he's not pro-rape at that point. Like, I feel like rape is one of those things where you were either for or against it, period. And if you're making the point that it can be good for some people, then you're just kind of for it. Anyway, back to the other debate, which hopefully doesn't have any more sexual assault stuff in it.
Comparison to your ditch licking?
Do the men that you try to...
Do the women that you try
show
to...
your hatred against...
Do the women
they,
that you try
convince
to...
them that they shouldn't...
You know, Charlie, did I
pursue
bring...
Women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did
your
I bring
wife
your
is 5
family...
years older?
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
stupid.
So, the reason why your family was brought into this, Andrew, is because you tell a bunch of red-pilled young men on the internet that they should not be with the exact kind of person who you ultimately ended up with, who you defend vehemently. You are a hypocrite when you are engaging in an activity and you are defending that activity and you are telling other people not to do it. Then it shows that you have a level of hypocrisy that you are not willing to confront or simply do not care about. That is the kind of person who should not be giving life advice to other people.
Did I say
called
anything
me
about
fucking
your
stupid.
family being stupid, Charlie?
could.
It's
You could
because
go
I'm
for it.
better than you, Charlie.
No, it's because you're embarrassed and you know that the traditional values that you try to sell people
Okay.
on are bullshit because
Let's-
you
See, this is the point. The traditional values that he is trying to sell people on do not matter, as evidenced by the fact that he preaches them, but he does not practice any of them. And yet he sits here and says, no, I'm better than you. Look at me. Look at how great I am.
are not
through
a
it.
traditional man.
Chuck, let's go through it.
You are not a traditional
Let's
man.
go through it, Chuck. Tell me what I'm doing which is immoral.
What you're doing, which is immoral?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can you see where the obfuscation is? Can you see where the obfuscation is? Because I can. Because her point was never that what he's done, dating his current wife, is immoral. The point is that he has argued that it is the wrong decision for men to make. And yet it is the decision that he has made and stuck to. It is a point about hypocrisy. What he's done is he's diverted the conversation away. Now we are no longer talking about whether or not you're a hypocrite. Now we are no longer talking about whether your opinion causes any harm in any way. We are arguing whether you yourself have engaged in an immoral act. It's no longer about traditional values that simply do not need to be adhered to that you still preach anyway. Now it's about whether or not he's a bad person, whether he's done the immoral thing. But that was never her point to begin with. But let's see if she takes the bait.
I think that you have been complicit in convincing young men that...
No. My family dynamic. What am I doing?
I see. So it's not even... Because when he says, what am I doing that's immoral? Because that can be answered pretty quickly. That can be answered by saying, yeah, I believe that the thing you preach to the people that you are trying to lead is immoral and wrong and bad and dumb and stupid. And you don't even follow it yourself, so why should they? That's easy. But then he goes, no, we can't talk about that. What's wrong about my family dynamic? And the answer to that should be, I don't give a shit who you put your dick in.
Married to my wife.
It's immoral.
Then why?
And there you have it. I don't think it's immoral. It's immoral? Okay, cool. Because that was never the conversation to begin with. But he's successfully diverted away from what the conversation was supposed to be about. But there's still plenty of time here. Let's see what happens.
So then...
Under my
So all
worldview,
you did...
that's perfectly
So wait,
acceptable.
Chuck, all you're doing is saying... So, Chuck, shouldn't you actually be saying that, Andrew, you're doing a good thing?
I'm
Hang on.
selling you
Charlie,
on
I just want to
my
make sure I got this
worldview?
right. Am I doing a good thing? Am I doing a
By
good thing?
what? Do you think your wife is a charity case?
By taking care of children who weren't mine? Was I doing a good thing? Whose fathers abandoned them? Was I doing a good thing?
Yeah, you're doing a good thing.
Oh, okay. Well then, Chuck, why did you use that as a form of personal attack on me?
Because it undermines your point. It undermines your point. If your point is that these are actions that people should not be taking, but they are the actions that you are taking, then it undermines your point. If you are not living out the worldview that you are trying to teach to other people, then that is the problem.
Even though you think I'm a good person doing a good thing.
I'm convincing you of my worldview.
You're very convincing, Chuck.
Under my worldview,
I'm a good person.
you can marry your wife and no one would judge you. And you can raise the children that aren't yours and no one would judge you.
No, they would
But
still
under
judge me,
your-
Chuck.
Under your worldview,
Yeah.
that would not be so. Christian nationalists,
Yeah, what
divorce
about
isn't
it?
even acceptable.
Do you understand?
Okay, so he's doing the fucking shit that I've seen like my family members do, where they just go, yeah, and every single time it's because the person's not fucking paying attention. This is the point. I mean, obviously, the conversation's been very derailed past this point, or even before this point. But like, once somebody starts doing that, I'm the type of person to just kind of sit there and not say anything, and just go, look, I can tell you're not paying attention, so I don't see why I'm talking.
What Christianity is? Do you think
Yes,
that?
I was
do you
raised
think?
Christian. Were you?
Yeah, I was.
Protestant.
Yes, I was.
Of course. See, this is
You don't. I'm sorry.
because the Protestant spirit is still in you.
Oh, it is.
It hasn't left, man.
Is the Catholic
hasn't
spirit
left.
still in you?
I wasn't raised Catholic.
Then what are you talking about?
I was raised
how,
Protestant.
Okay, you were raised Protestant?
Yeah.
So why would you fucking criticize me for that?
It's the thing that Protestants do when they convert to like Orthodox or Catholic is they get really into the idea of like.
Hey Chuck, can I ask you?
They get really into the idea of rules and
Chuck,
shit.
have you ever had an abortion?
No.
Never. Would you?
Yeah.
So you'd kill your own kids? Why am I going to take moral advice from you?
You don't have to.
I'm not going
Why would
to.
I take moral
And again, we are no longer in the area of the discussion that was being had at all. We are diverted past it, and I have suddenly stopped caring. So, what did we actually glean from this? Well, we've learned one thing. Don't fucking debate fascists. Like, okay, this is what these kinds of people do, okay? Irrespective of whether Charlie did all the right things or all the wrong things, I don't know. I'm not about to watch the 6-hour debate. I'm going to watch the parts that are pertinent to me and then walk away from it after that point. Debates as entertainment, where you bring people who have the most caustic ideologies ever to have discussions, all you do is you create a lightning rod for people to build a greater and greater fan base. Now, for the Whatever podcast, this directly enriches them. This brings people to their channel to view their stuff, to see their shorts, to go, oh my god, look at the blood sports, oh my god, it's so cool! But discussions like these, I think, are where nuance goes to die in favor of performance. The reason I showed you this is that out of the 6.5-hour long debate, this clip is the thing that went viral. This is the thing that everybody has been talking about in regards to this debate. None of it has been about the nuance. None of it has been about the conversation that has been had. All of it has been about the moment that Charlie triggered BigPapaFascist, or the moment that Andrew Wilson defends his family. But there's a little more that I want to show you that shows just kind of how much these people obfuscate their positions. This is, again, why you don't debate fascists. So there is a moment, about 30 or 40 minutes after the whole fallout happens, where Andrew's wife actually calls in. And remember, the point has been, you preach a particular ideology and worldview. You do not follow that ideology or worldview. Therefore, people shouldn't pay attention to what you are saying because you don't even follow it yourself. That is the point. That is the premise. That is what matters. So what happens when Rachel calls in?
Which is, I mean, she said all this stuff about me that she got completely wrong, but what is it that you think Andrew or I are doing that is wrong or hypocritical?
I do feel that with your guys' platforms, what you do is, Rachel, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with your platform. I'm only familiar with your husband's.
You're only familiar with talking shit about her when she's not here.
Well, hey, man, I was trying to prove my point.
Hey, you know what's funny? When he says, oh, you're only really good about talking shit about her when she's not here. That's not the point. The point was about you. Had nothing to do with her. She happens to be a person who has had multiple marriages. She happens to be a person who's had multiple children. That is immaterial to the fact that you are the one. If you had not been the one to say in previous podcasts, in previous debates, that men should not be with single mothers, men should not date women, and going over the whole fucking used goods shit, if you had not done that, that point would have never been brought up. But he's being a professional victim here, and this is how it plays out.
I was trying to prove my point.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, how does what you said about me prove your point? Like, again, did somebody tell you that Andrew hates on single moms and shits on them, and so you thought that because
But he does do that. It's a thing he's done.
He's married to me, and I had kids before I married him, that he's a bad Christian. I don't understand where you're coming from with this.
So it's fucking hilarious because she can't even okay, so I think I know why Andrew was willing to tell Charlie that she's too stupid to understand his points. I'm beginning to learn a lot about his wife and how smart she is. So, man, these two were made for each other. I cannot think that I have seen any individuals that have exemplified having no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but being so goddamn confident in it. I've already explained what the actual point that was trying to be articulated was. It's about the lifestyle that you're preaching and not actually following it. But yeah, go on.
What did he do wrong, and what did I do wrong?
So the basis of Andrew's platform is essentially to make women look stupid and humiliate them. And
No,
I don't.
You're doing a perfectly good job of that all by yourself. He doesn't even need the help. But go on.
All right. Well,
Erroneous. Erroneous.
Sorry.
it's okay. I lost my train of thought.
Go ahead. Tell the whole world why we're bad.
The whole world?
Bad, and why am I bad?
You were saying that Andrew's whole purpose is to make women look dumb and stupid.
But that's how his thing works, is he goes on debate shows. A lot of the time it's young women, people with no formal debate experience, such as myself, to mock them, make them look stupid, clip farm, and then gain money and notoriety this way. He doesn't engage in real thoughtful debate. I've seen people walk off from debating him because
we got to do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. You can't just shotgun 500 things. So,
Okay.
Did you not have agency? Did you not have agency when you accepted this debate with Andrew?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, we're doing the libertarian thing. We're like, a person agreed to something so that it's perfect. It's always perfectly fine. Okay, so look, let me ask you a question. If a person like Charlie Kirk, well, I guess not like him anymore, but a person like Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh goes onto a debate stage and they choose the platform to be a college campus where there's going to be, inexperienced kids who may be studying the field that they're going to come talk about, but a lot of times they're just really passionate and may not know a lot about a subject matter. And they're just rapid fire debating them constantly. And they're the ones who are in control of the mic and all that fun stuff. Do you see how there's an imbalance there where the debater has come with this is the thing Stephen Crowder has done. They'll come with a portfolio filled with all of the answers to all their questions that they might be able to deal with. And then you've got random people on the street that they're arguing with. Those random people on the street do have agency, but it doesn't change the fact that there is a reason that the particular people that those conservatives have chosen to go after are who they are. They are the people they know they can humiliate more. And that's something Rachel either doesn't understand or chooses not to understand because it helps defend her husband. And I don't know if Charlie's really equipped to fight that, especially this late into a debate, but let's see.
Okay, then what did he do wrong? Do you want him to treat you because you're a feminist, so do you want him to only debate men? Because if he did that, you'd say, well, he's a misogynist. He won't even debate women because he doesn't take them seriously enough or whatever.
That has never been the fucking point, you idiot. No, okay, I'm sorry. That was under the belt, but I think it's perfectly warranted. It's perfectly warranted. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
You guys make yourself look stupid. Andrew can't make you look stupid if you're not. And I would go on here and I would make you look 10 times stupider because you're really, really uninformed, but really, really confident about everything you say. You do not sound like a person with a college education. My homeschooled 13-year-old can explain per capita, okay? You are not a very smart person. You're the one who put yourself in this position. And since you lost and you got humiliated, you thought the thing to do would be attack me. And okay, so let's go there. Where did you get the idea that
it's funny. I didn't actually hear her attack you. I heard her go after the hypocrisy of your husband.
I'm promiscuous?
Well...
She never said that.
You're promiscuous? Sorry,
that was
you
never
just
said.
Also said a bunch of shit that I was trying to keep track of.
You said that I'm promiscuous. So what promiscuous means I've slept with a lot of people, right?
I would say that I think that having children with multiple men is, I think that is more significant than...
Okay, well, I think it would be if, and I know why people assume this. I do understand why people assume it. They're just wrong in their assumptions. It would be wrong if I had been sleeping with lots of people, if I had been carelessly getting pregnant with random people. That's not the case. I've spent my entire adult life only in 3 long-term committed relationships, one of which is a, almost 20-year relationship with Andrew. Now we're 18 years in. I've been married since 2012. Prior to that, I was married for 4 years, as Andrew had to unfortunately explain. That ended not even because I left, but because he beat the crap out of me and was being pursued by the law and left the state, and so it was like abandonment. The first one was my high school boyfriend who I knew my whole life, who I was with.
Okay, I don't think I actually give two flying shits about the details of her previous marriages, because this is obfuscation. This is obfuscation, because the details of those marriages never mattered. Like, that's even something that Charlie tried to argue, is that that's not the part that matters. The part that matters is that you had kids with a bunch of other people. And even earlier in the debate, she pointed out, in her worldview, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know whose worldview that is wrong in? Andrew's. You know who has spoken out against that multiple times? Andrew. You know who isn't following the actual code that he set forth for everybody else to follow? Andrew. That's been the point the whole time. The details here are obfuscation. I understand why these two are made for each other. They are either, scenario A, they are either very confidently and articulately stupid. Or, scenario B, they are very, very smart, they know what they're doing, and they know to divert away anytime a salient point has been made. Because what Charlie should be doing here, if possible, and it seems like it's not really possible, again, it's hour 5, I would be exhausted at this point, but what should be being done here is doing everything in your power to hold somebody into the lane of conversation that you are trying to hold them into. If the point is about the lifestyle that you preach but don't follow, then always wheel it back to that point instead of letting it go into, actually, people misunderstand things about my relationships. I was abused in the previous one. Woman, I am very sorry for you. I wish that hadn't happened, but it's not the fucking point. It is off the topic, what we were trying to talk about, and that seems to be where we're at. So, man, again, I cannot stress this enough. This is why you don't debate fascists. I used to be far more in favor of debate. And I still am in favor of debate when both people come in with, you know, the ability to be good faith. But if somebody is a fascist and they've got a platform, don't fucking debate them. All you do is you give ammunition to their side because they're going to believe the fascist no matter what. Or if you have a audience, then you're just giving your audience the view time from the fucking fascist. The only time that you can do a debate with a fascist is when you are literally so fucking good at what you do, you can trounce them on everything confidently. And I would suggest that you should get somebody else to evaluate whether you're that person and not yourself. For me, I am not that person. I know I'm not that person. I used to try to do debate, and then my memory literally became the biggest problem for me in a live setting. I forget important topics, I get off track, it's easy to distract me, and because of those weaknesses, I am not a good person for these debates. It is better for me to sit down and be analytical about things, to dissect them, to take time with them. That's a far better use of my skill set than trying to be in a live debate setting. I feel like I perform way worse there and inadvertently create problems for other people when I do. But we're out of the weeds here. What's the point in all of this? I've already said it a few times. Just don't be a victim of these people, even if you have the agency to do so. Just don't. Somebody comes up with you with a microphone out in the street, just ignore them. Somebody decides that they, like, you think you want to go on one of these big debate platforms? Stop feeding them. The only reason that people like BigPapaFascist, Andrew Wilson, gained any notoriety at all is because people were willing to give them the time of day. If enough people stopped giving them the time of day, that would cease. But on the other hand, I think we can actually say that him getting, completely upset and in defense of his wife, it's actually kind of a brilliant move. I'm completely against it, but it's actually kind of a brilliant move. Because now there are conservative Christians who are going to see that as the strong man coming to the defense of his diminutive wife. They're not going to see that as the hypocritical man who preaches something he doesn't practice. They're going to see it as a strong man with machismo protecting his territory. And that is how they're going to see it for the next few months or years or however long they're talking about this debate. Us on the left, a lot of us see exactly what the fuck happened, and it's pathetic. But there's a lot of people on the right who probably don't see it that way. And I would suggest If you're in a conversation with one of those people, ask them how they see this and why they see it that way. Start that conversation at a micro level instead of trying to do these giant debates at a macro level. You'll make a lot more headway. Anyway, that's all for this one. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up here. I wanted to cover a little bit of this, some of the backstory. I wanted to take a look at this here. Not the same thing as a normal video response, but I also don't usually do debate review things at all. And, well, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I want to know what y'all's perspective on this was, because for me, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do another one of these videos, so let me know if I should. That said, as always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagittarius, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.